people to talk to you in a certain tone of voice, and for you, through civility, to make sure that you present yourself in the best light as a confident person, it's a very difficult decision and it's a very difficult position. And these folks, especially some of these folks, have served for years. Tom has been there since I've been here. And again, it really just boils down to me. When I look around, I see things like, okay, yes, we're not getting it. We're at a snail's pace. It's slow. Things happen. But you know what? Since I've been in the town of Hastings, 8 to 10 street sewer lines have been lined. That means 8 to 10 streets will not fail anymore. You know what? We spent money. We spent our reserves. But guess what? Those repairs are done. So we're turning over things that have been repaired to a great state. And is it in our best interest financially? I can't tell you that. But I certainly can tell you from inside knowledge of that things positively have been happening in Hastings for a long time. You may not see it, you may not feel it, but I certainly know the underground part of Hastings has been improved and improved every year, every month, and I will give the county the credit where they deserve it, because since again, Karen Stern was our commissioner, they have assisted the town of Hastings, where years before, you know it, the county was not assisting the town of Hastings. But the county has now become assisting with the town. They help us with grants, they provide the management of those grants, so we have a very good relationship with the county, I feel, personally. So I don't have any issues with the county themselves per se. That's an issue for us to decide 51%, 50 plus 1 will decide that. But I will say that it really boils down to me. I'm one of 632 right now. If this continues and we are dissolved, I'm one of 235,000. Think about that for a moment. Your voice matters here. And the reality of life is, if your voice doesn't matter, what good is your voice? I'd like to think that, personally, I'm not ready to give up on Hastings. I see things good happening here, and I understand people are frustrated. I understand people want things to happen. They've seen it their whole lives not getting better. What really stymied us was a downturn in 2006 and 7. When everything went down, we had 2 communities that were going to come in here after the annexations, and we were going to gain residents. We were going to have new package plants. We were going to have new community members, but we were still going to have Hastings, the town of Hastings. And again, whether or not the town will survive the identity crisis, I cannot. But I can say I'll still walk with Brenda. I'll still like Mr. Wright, whether I agree with him or not, because that's part of being an adult.
Amen.
Is we don't have to agree with everybody, but we sure in the heck should be civil to them and respect their point of view. And at the same time, make sure that as one voice, we use that voice that God gave us to stand up for our beliefs. And I can tell you right now, you already know, I know all of you almost, that I'm a man of my word, and when I give my word, I do it. Most of you are the same, and I appreciate that from every one of you. And I just hope that, again, if we can believe truth, and truth speaks for itself, we will know the answers that we seek. I appreciate this time in front of you, and I will say again that I'm proud to be a Hastonian. I want this town to stay the way it is. I have great faith in Shelby and the town that are great stewards with literally nothing. And that's what makes it more important to me, is we survive with nothing. So if we can survive with nothing, then the stars are our limit. Thank you very much.
Amen.
No questions? Fellow neighbor?
Carlos Felder, 503 Wilson Road.
Welcome, sir.
I want to thank everyone for your time. This is truly a pivotal point in not only the history, but the future of Hastings. How you doing, Mr. Wanchek? We know each other, right? Just for the record, I know Mr. Wanchek from St. Johns County. You used to be the county administrator. But you still are, okay. that we had an organization, a nonprofit organization from right here in town, a legitimate 501c3 organization that was set up to specifically help the children in this area. One of the programs that we were trying to implement was to bring back the youth sports program that had been dropped for a couple of years. We specifically went over to the county, and this is how I know Mr. Wanchek, and we needed to get help from the county to help provide the services for low-income household kids. These kids are minorities. A lot of them have issues in school. A lot of them deal with issues with ADHD. And we wanted to provide these kids with alternatives, because what statistics show that if those kids aren't steered into a positive direction, that there's only two places for them. And either they're getting killed today or they're going to jail. So one of the things that I'm gonna touch on is the fact that we need an education facility back here in this community. Now, what happened with the old facility, just so we're clear on this, is that it was taken over. The school board came in and it was turned over to the county. True facts, that building is now being leased back to the citizens, sold back to the community. We just recently had 2 young people escape from the facility institution there. They ended up in this community. As a matter of fact, my cousins ended up passing them on the street. That to me raises a red flag. It's a hazard. So what I'm saying with this is that we had the school taken and it's being sold back to the community. Now the community is about to be taken. I have proof, physical evidence, that I've been trying to secure some kind of an agreement through the county as well as working with the town to help deal with drainage issues that lead to extremely bad health issues in your community. Where you have an alarming rate of prostate cancer and other diseases and various things that people don't seem to have an answer for. We're talking about revenues and assets here tonight that's being turned over. That seems to be on the table.
Mr. Felder, if I may just for one moment, please.
Just to make this a little shorter, we were turned down. We were promised, and I have this on my computer. We were promised space because the entity became a CDE, which is a certified development entity through the Department of Treasury, a legitimate nonprofit 501c3. And the county secures funds to help these organizations grow in the county as well as in this community. Mr. Wanchek also spoke about the unincorporated area. That line is so fine. When you say that to people in here, all they know is Hastings. If you ask them where that line is, they don't know. On top of that, part of the drainage issue with the sewage area, which Mr. Stanton was talking about, has been in that area for over 100 years. And it runs off into nowhere. What happened when Hurricane Matthew came through was everything along that corridor flooded. And the citizens on the north side of Hastings were trapped. I know because I was there on the ground. If it had rained one more day, there would have been a major problem in this area. Not because we have a drainage that's running off into the north side and into nowhere that has nowhere to go. It's just because it's been neglected. Because we haven't come up with a solution to deal with the issue. Not that it hasn't been addressed. It's been talked about. To give you the facts, Neil Shinkry, the head of your Public Works Division, Mr. Ivan Burrows, his boss, the engineer, the St. Johns River Water Management District, Mr. Baggett, along with the DOT Department of Transportation that is spearheading the trail here in town, that's being spearheaded by Ms. Amy Williams. I got all of them to meet up at the park on the north side so they could see the conditions and we could try to come to a conclusion on what was supposed to be done with that. That was a meeting that I don't think the county even took the time to do. And part of that was the responsibility of the county. And when I spoke with the county about it, you all told me it was the town's responsibility because the unincorporated area of Hastings is practically the incorporated area of Hastings because it's impossible to impact any of it without impacting the other because the town is only 1 mile square. If you're talking about a drainage issue of the magnitude, which to me is still small, of the sewage that runs from this side, the south side, to the north side, it's contiguous. It runs both in the town limits and a part of the unincorporated area. But no one decided to take any action. Everyone kicked the ball around. Everyone pushed us to the side. Now, since we're talking about ad valorem and non-ad valorem taxes, which is revenues, Mr. Stanton also talked about the fact that the citizens of Hastings has a unique thing about them. They know how to band together.
Yes.
That's an asset. What do? We move forward. There hasn't been anyone there in the past because they're all in the unincorporated area. And you have to be inside the town limits to actually get on the ballots. Well, I am now, as of a couple of months ago. And I'm standing here saying that I don't want you all to try and rob me of the opportunity to make a difference in my community. Because I see things that you don't see. There is value here. I live here. How has it sustained thus far if there is no value here? What we're talking about at this point is where do we go from here? Now, in order for us to make the best decision, because we talk about change, but change is an ambiguous term because that can go in the wrong direction for you. We have to be headed in the right direction. This town has the sustainability it needs. It has the resources it needs. It has the viability. All you have to do is just take your time and make the right decision. In order to do that, you have to be properly informed. Now, I'm still trying to get someone to come clean out the ditch in front of my house after 15 years. If you don't believe me, I'll pull out the paperwork.
Okay.
15 years. I have.
We're not questioning that.
Okay, I want you to know, this is 15 years worth of work. So it's right on 503 Wilson Road. When Hurricane Matthew came through and dropped all that water, it was kids playing in the water. Had there been a power line down in the water, somebody was dead. I had to wade in the water knee deep to get to my house. So I'm asking here tonight that you do not dissolve this town because there are tons of things that I can tell you about gentrification, which is what's happening in West Augustine, about urban sprawl, about, yes, it does affect your water bill and your tax. I can also talk to you about how the tax certificate process also hinders the growth in your community. When property taxes are over-assessed and then they're taken through the tax deed sale process and regenerated